welcome to the MetaCast. I'm your host Aditya, and as you can see, this is a very impromptu handheld setup because why not? And today's episode is totally based on blockchain. Why is blockchain and what is blockchain is the whole question we are covering on this episode. Today's guest is Pranshu Rastogi, who is a blockchain developer and has won many hackathons. His EPNS, which is Ethereum Push Notifications Service, which he explains in a bit in the episode. So carry along and welcome to the MetaCast. Hello, Via. How are you doing?
Hey, hi Aditya. I'm good. How are you?
I'm also good. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much for accepting my request.
Yeah, it's great pleasure for me because it's this is my first podcast. So I'll say thank you for hosting me.
So it's a podcast debut then. That's great that I'm your
Yeah,
debut host. I'm your debut host then.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully it will be great.
All right. So let me.
Or we will make it that way.
Yeah. We can make it the best podcast, best blockchain podcast ever. I assure you that.
Great. Nice.
Okay, so let's start from how I met you. Like e-meet, but like let's just
Uh-huh.
start from the discussion. I was going through Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter is the
Okay.
hub for blockchain. I mean, let's just address it. There is
Mm-hmm.
a lot of shit in it, but
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is a hub for blockchain.
yeah.
So I was going through it, and then suddenly I came. I think I started with there is a crypto club in Bhubaneswar. Shivam Kumar is the person who is
Mm-hmm.
hosting it, and then
Okay.
was I got recommended to your profile, and then I got introduced to
Ah.
EPNS. I read about EPNS. I was like, oh damn, this is something new. I need to understand it more. Then I learned about Ethereum, and then learned about blockchain and more. Like it's been a
Mm-hmm.
month I have got introduced to this ecosystem, and it's pretty exciting to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So I like
Mm.
at the next moment I opened LinkedIn. I just sent you a connection request, and then
Uh,
we chatted. I think the vibe got really well, so I thought let's just call you on the podcast.
I'll say Twitter algorithms are working fine. Thanks, Elon. And
For
yeah,
sure.
it's great. You reached out to me. So my profile is interesting enough.
Yeah,
Again,
for sure,
thank
for
you.
sure. So what did you think of the like initial conversation? Like why did you say yes is the better question.
Yeah, I say see, I have never did the podcast, right?
Hmm.
And I always try new things, of
Yeah.
course. And one thing is that blockchain thing is not, of course, we discuss a lot about crypto, but
Hmm.
very few about blockchain. So when
Hmm.
you just, tell me hey, it will be more blockchain focused podcast,
Hmm. Hmm.
I'll say,
Hmm.
yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And again, it will be better, if someone else want to reach out to me. So they have one more thing to, talk. So that's the reason.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's something good. So we can straightly like right jump into into the conversation. So let's start with
Hmm.
what is blockchain technology and how will you explain to a layman like me?
Hmm. Cool. I'll start with of course, we are dealing with a lot of things to write, right? Like if you have a ledger, even
Hmm.
in in the previous or in the past,
Hmm.
what basically, if you want to take a loan, right?
Hmm.
So in the old days, there is a ledger, like a register, they just mark it down. Okay, I just gave this loan to this person,
Hmm.
this, repaid me this much.
Yeah.
So just assume that that register become immutable. Right, that
Hmm.
means you cannot delete that, and
Hmm.
everyone have that copy, so that
Hmm.
no one, not a one bank, or not a one someone who is lending the money or something like that
Hmm.
owns that, but everyone have the copy, but they cannot just change it. You have spill some magic thing, and
Right.
that magic thing is cryptography.
Yep.
Okay, and you cannot delete that because blockchain is immutable. So if we
Hmm.
just go by the definition, it's blockchain is basically an immutable database, That
Hmm.
means you cannot delete anything once it got written, right? And
Yeah,
it is,
yeah.
decentralized and transparent. Like anyone can, access the data, or not like view the data, but they cannot
Hmm.
change it because it is cryptographically encrypted.
Hmm. Okay. So, basically, what you are saying is, uh, in the olden days, the records or any kind of data was used to
Mm-hmm.
be written in a format which might be tampered with.
Mm-hmm.
But now, with the use of
Exactly.
blockchain, you can't tamper with the data. There is
Yeah.
the every person has a copy of the blockchain.
Immutability.
Yeah, immutability. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what is immutability for better understanding?
Immutability is like you cannot delete anything
Hmm.
once it is written over the blockchain, right? Like
Hmm.
basically in the normal centralized database, we have CRUD operation, right?
Hmm.
Create, read, update, and delete. In
Hmm.
the blockchain, you have just create, read, and update. You cannot delete anything.
Hmm.
Because see, of course,
Okay.
you can delete, then there is it makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
Like it can be tempered. So
Hmm.
of course you can update it because this is most frequently asked. Like, what if I have written something by mistake? Okay,
Hmm.
or what if there is mistake? So that's
Yeah.
fine
Yeah.
because you can always update it. It have the
Hmm.
like history that by mistake you have written this thing, but now it works.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the other thing.
All right. All right. So, like, what was your journey in becoming a blockchain developer? How did it all start?
Yeah, so I guess it's an interesting one. I wasn't aware about blockchain initially, when I started my career.
Hmm.
But luckily, my first job is in cryptocurrency exchange. Okay, so like I was basically working in the data field over there, like more like
Hmm.
creating a fraud detection algorithm, or like more in the data part,
Okay.
like
Okay.
analyzing few things.
Yeah.
So, but like, in most of the time, other people just talk about this Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I was like, what is this? So
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
day, I just decided that okay, let's read about this. So I
Hmm.
just read the Bitcoin white paper and was like, wow, this is something else. Like this is not,
Yeah.
where we are right now.
Right.
And that day, like, of course, it was started. Like I was starting my career, so
Huh.
it was not, like a very hard decision. Okay, let's switch. But that day, I decided that, I'll just move to blockchain. And since then,
Hmm.
I just started reading about it, creating projects,
Hmm.
applying for the blockchain firms.
Hmm.
So that's, how I started my journey. So again, like worked with multiple, like worked on various blockchain
Hmm.
platforms
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
with firms. So, that's like, how I started.
So
Or
you
like that's how
you went
I
from
how I
data
met
analytics.
blockchain. Mm.
That's a good. That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
All right. So you went from data analytics
Yeah.
to blockchain. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I wasn't aware about, what blockchain is at that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, being a cryptocurrency exchange,
Hmm.
that's like it's like fair advantage to, at least understand what blockchain is.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. So, how did you get introduced to Polkadot Substrate? Like, where did that come from? And you,
Ah,
yeah, tell me
I guess
about it.
like in my last firm, basically, like we were working mostly on the self-sovereign identity. Okay, so it's basically like, more on the identity part. So the thing that we were basically building is on the substrate framework, right?
Okay.
That is like Polkadot is built upon.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's how, like, in my previous firm, I was basically introduced to this Polkadot and substrate space.
Hmm.
And, eventually, like, I learned a lot into this.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's again, cool journey.
Oh, so tell me about your project. Let me about EPNS.
Sure. So EPN is like, of course, like as name suggests, like Ethereum push notification service.
Yeah.
But on a add-on, like it's not just like on Ethereum blockchain.
Hmm.
First thing is to like simplify in a single word. It's a communication protocol.
Okay.
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 Let's take an example. For example, you have a loan, in the DeFi that is about to get liquidated, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you won't get a notification or you will not get notified. Okay, your
Hmm.
ENSD may be going to get expired, right?
Hmm.
So you don't get notified or something like that.
Hmm.
And it is always hard to like go to the browser,
Hmm.
connect your MetaMask or any of
Yeah.
your
Yeah. Yeah.
wallet, and
Yeah.
see like what is the current situation. So
Yeah.
EPN is basically trying to create like like or trying to solve that issue. So
Yeah.
EPN is like first communication protocol through which you can receive and send notification even in the
Hmm.
Web3 space. And of course, like it get extended to the other blockchains also.
Right. Right. So that is like, there is something called cross blockchain. Some term like,
Communication.
yeah. Yeah. So that
Yeah.
that is facilitated through Polkadot. Like, is that something through Substrate?
So yeah. So I guess like Substrate also XMTP. I guess they recently announced like
Yeah.
cross chain or something
Cross.
like
Yeah.
transfer protocol.
Yeah.
But yeah, EPN is mostly focused on like notification part. So like
Hmm.
you can receive notification through browser extension, mobile
Hmm.
app. Like we
Oh.
also have SDK, so you can just integrate
Yeah.
in your app or anything.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
use that.
Oh, okay. So like companies can take this software and they can like uh push notifications basically, and that is not centralized. Like
Yeah.
how?
So thing is that if you want to send notification, first thing is you have to create a channel. For
Right.
example, like in YouTube, right? If you
Yeah.
want to publish the video, so
Yeah.
you have to create a channel, right?
Right.
Similarly, in the EPNS, you have to create a channel. So once,
Hmm.
like let's say Uniswap created a channel, right?
Hmm.
So as a user, like I want to get notified about all the events that Uniswap is sending. Like
Hmm.
so I'll subscribe that Uniswap channel with my wallet address. Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay.
all the events that is happening on my wallet address in the
Yeah.
Uniswap, I'll get notified about that.
Oh,
Similarly,
nice.
like let's let's take an example of ENS or any like I don't of course have to mention some specific protocols,
Yeah.
but like ENS like of course are very popular naming
Hmm.
service. So
Hmm.
let's say ENS created a channel. Actually, ENS already have a channel on ENS. So
Hmm.
you just have to go with your whatever address is. So you should
Hmm.
subscribe to that ENS channel, and you will
Hmm.
get notified. Okay, that Aditya.eth is going to expire in 90 days, 50 days, or
Hmm.
something like that.
Oh,
So
okay. That's
yeah, so
interesting.
like that, there are a lot of channels. Like with all the protocols, there are
Yeah.
various channels.
Yeah.
So of course, whatever the protocol or service you are consuming,
Hmm.
you just go to that and you can subscribe. And of course, you can create your own channel also.
Channel two. Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay, so a lot of my friends, like I
Mhm.
usually, in some ways, have you heard of the Dunning-Kruger graph? Like, there is a competence
Mhm.
versus confidence graph, and it shows
Yeah,
you
yeah.
initially there's a
Mhm.
bound stupidity, then you fall back into a full
Yeah,
valley
yeah,
of regret, and then you attain intelligence, like the
yeah.
real competence. So
Yeah,
right now I'm on the mount of stupidity.
yeah. Blockchain is going, yeah,
Yeah, so I
yeah,
have a little knowledge about
yeah.
everything. So I try to
Okay.
explain people about small things, and always one question they ask is how to start. Like, where should a student start, and they can build projects
Mm-hmm.
in the later years. So
Mm-hmm.
where should we start?
Got it. Like, I guess, like, if you want to deep dive into the blockchain space, like,
Hmm.
one thing I strongly suggest is, like, understand the basics first. Like,
Hmm.
you can start by reading Ethereum white paper. It is a,
Hmm.
good thing to get started.
Yeah.
Then Austin, like, already created a lot of content on that scale called ETH.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
first thing is like go to the Ethereum white paper, understand
Hmm.
the basic, like, how transaction works, what is
Hmm.
EVM, like,
Hmm.
how
Hmm.
blockchain works, what is blockchain, first of all,
Yeah. Yeah.
types of blockchain. So once you are like, good with the basic,
Hmm.
then, start learning Solidity, because Solidity is the code language in which you
Hmm.
can write smart contract in most of the EVM, right?
Right.
So once you learn Solidity, it gives
Hmm.
you a wider option to explore most of the EVM chains.
Okay.
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 So after learning Solidity, start building, participate in hackathons. Like,
Hmm.
don't hesitate. Like, what if I fail?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
go and learn all those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So hackathons are great. You have to like you can learn a lot of things in hackathons. So
Hmm.
that's again, a great thing to do.
Hmm. A lot of people actually, a lot of my friends are actually very skeptical about the future of blockchain. Like how do you think it's going to sweep into our lives? Is the very question I get asked a
Yeah.
lot of time. I'm not the right person to ask, but same question. I'm going to ask you. I'm
Uh-huh.
going to ask an expert
Yeah.
in very short time.
I also like, if you talk about me, like, future of blockchain, of course, I'll say like if you study it, like understand it, like, thoroughly, like, what does it build? Like, you don't have to afraid, right? What's the future is. So of
Hmm.
course you are in the blockchain space just because of the future, right?
Right.
Because if you love something or you are passionate about something, you don't think of that,
True.
okay, it will die or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, like like I'll mostly restrict myself to answer this types of queries. But I'll say like first explore and do your own research. Like maybe I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Today's generation is very much obsessed with DSA, and everyone is becoming an SDV
Uh-huh.
at big tech companies. So, do
Uh-huh.
you think students should also explore these newer technologies
Mm-hmm.
and like to see where the world is
Uh-huh.
going and what the future beholds? Or
I guess the first thing is it's not bad to explore DSA and works in big giants also. The
yeah,
first thing is that, right? Because of course someone have to build that themselves.
yeah,
Okay,
sure.
like we are also like you are going to upload this on YouTube, right? Not on the IPFS. So
Yeah, I
like you
mean,
cannot
well,
blame those guys. Hey, why are you going there? So, mm, but
true.
if we just remove this part, but thing is that of course, like people are like more open to new tech also. I won't
Hmm.
say, and of course, like blockchain is like it's an open platform or like open community more of. So like
Right.
there are a lot of hackathons, workshops are going, so people are, bit more like, learning, going through it. And
Hmm.
yeah, of course, explore, as much as you can, like, go to or, explore those things. I'll say not in the technology, but in the basic life also.
Hmm.
Do like, what you love and what you think, it's good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no harm. Like, even if someone wanted to, learn like very old assembly language, that's fine. It's his choice or her choice.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So, a lot of people here are in a very play safe mode. Like, we don't need risk or
Uh-huh.
knife. There is a proper roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
Learn DSA, do a project,
Uh-huh.
internship, got it. So this is the
Get
perfect
into,
roadmap
yeah,
for like
big guns.
almost
Yeah.
very a lot of people who study here.
Uh-huh.
So, and every time I asked about this, I'm like, okay, yeah, this works, I know, but what about creativity? Like we have gone through this for for
Mhm.
before engineering, like JE was the same thing. So if we are going to
Yeah.
repeat the same rat race again, so like where's the time to explore your own creative self, right? uh, this is something I go
Yeah.
through every day of my life. Even my mom and dad also call me. How many questions did you solve? What's going on? What's the rating?
Yeah.
How many stars? I was like,
Yeah. Everything is fine. I guess it's a part of life. You don't have to like, worry about this. Of
hmm.
course, like, do and explore. Of course, they are concerned because they are parents or, someone like your elders. But
Hmm.
like, if you believe and you think, you can make it up, like do it. Like there should be no place to regrets, right?
True.
Like देखा जाएगा. And like we are still young, right?
Yeah.
Like one thing is like, we all are worried about like, hey, we are so old, like, we haven't still got the job, or like, we haven't done this, like I
Hmm.
don't have that, that much crores in my bank. So that's
Yeah.
fine, right?
Yeah.
Or like everyone don't have to be like, Elon Musk, Bill Gates or Ambani's, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Someone have to be storyteller like
True
you.
that. True that.
Yeah. Like, although I'm not denying that being a storyteller cannot be a rich thing. So don't take it otherwise. Yeah.
No, no offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have read in many articles that blockchain is going to be the back end of metaverse in some way. So, and
Mhm.
when we hear about metaverse, there is always a kind of a raise in the eyebrow in everyone's face.
Mm.
So, are you
Mm.
excited? Are you scared? What's your feeling about
I guess like it's not about the getting emotions for this, because like you said, like what about creativity, right?
it? Yeah.
So people are doing creativity now, like they are trying to explore something like metaverse, right? We
Hmm.
don't like what will happen over there, like what are the things. Of course,
Hmm.
now there are like pretty much stable platform, but of course there are a lot of things yet to get explored. So I
Hmm.
guess this is the creativity part. This is your like here you can find those guys like you don't talk too much, like
Hmm.
who have chosen the creativity field.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Hmm.
like yeah, it's still a lot of things to explore because blockchain is in early age, right? There
Yeah.
will be like more use case, like more failures, and like
Hmm.
a lot of things to
Yeah.
see. But of course, like even like big giants like Facebook, Meta,
Hmm.
exploring that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's good thing to do that.
Yeah, that's true. Recently, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Star Talk. Do
Mm-hmm.
you know Star Talk? The talk show. They talk about astronomy and about galaxies, black holes, and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He used to come
I
in
guess
a.
like if they would have. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me, tell me.
No, I'm just saying like if they would have invited me, I would have known them. But yeah, I'll check.
Right. Well,
Never
moving
mind.
on.
Yeah, yeah.
Neil deGrasse Tyson used to host a show on Discovery, which was relating to astronomy. I don't remember the name of the show. He recently
See.
invited. Uh, he recently invited Mark Zuckerberg, and they used Meta's technologies to understand a black hole better. So, they had their own avatars, and
Uh-huh.
Neil deGrasse Tyson had a mustache and in the avatar too. I was like, oh wow, this is
Mhm.
real.
Oh.
And they were scrolling through the black hole spaghettification, what is event horizon, and they were
Mhm.
doing that. It was very cool. It was very cool. So
Nice.
things like these are going to like expand in many ways in the future. Do you think that? Like, do you think classroom learning can become this? You got
Yeah,
some.
like first thing to them is like um, if you are watching this, please invite me.
Hmm.
Second thing is, of course, there are like yeah, there are use cases like even in the medical thing, right?
Hmm.
Like metaverse, like are exploring a lot of things. So like
Hmm.
classroom learning, this medical science. There are a lot of
Hmm.
new and use cases. Like even I guess like if you have to teach in the traffic, right? How
Hmm.
to obey the traffic rules, just
Hmm.
send them to the metaverse, right?
Damn right.
So that's again a cool thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So of course there are less accidents and like more patients for eye specialist. Yeah.
What was that?
I'm saying like if you do like a lot of metaverse thing, of
Yeah.
course your eyes won't get better, right? So
Yeah.
more patients do eye specialist and less
Hmm.
accidents. Yeah.
That's right.
I've already warned you, right? So
You have. Actually, I was listening to a podcast by Varun Maya very recently, and he said that probably
Mhm.
the peripheral uh, inputs are not the very
Mhm.
accurate way of showing what the metaverse is. Maybe you can like transplant
Mhm.
chips in your brain to simulate the same response,
Mhm.
simulate the same. Um, what is the right word? Simulate the same actions. Simulate the same actions. For
Mhm.
example, if I
It's
want to
more
see,
like, yeah, create that same feeling in your like nervous system also, right?
right, Right,
Like,
right.
so it will be more realistic rather than like currently, like we have that aura or something, right?
Hmm.
And our brain basically fools ourselves to see, okay, this is the reality, but rather
Yeah.
than he is saying that, just put something in your
Your
brain and
brain. Yeah,
feel
yeah.
it, like in the, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
he
nice.
was.
Like, I guess, like for him, I just
Hmm.
one thing. Like for him, I just have one thing. Like robots are doing that, right? So why humans? You
All right.
feel that chip in robots, and
Yeah.
they feel the same, right? So why do humans? But yeah, never
Okay.
mind.
That's interesting. That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think of it before coming here. Okay, interesting. So great segue to our next section. I call it Honey I
Uh-huh.
Shrunk. Have you seen the movie Honey I Shrunk My
Okay.
Kids?
No.
Very old movie, like it's some 90s American movie. Lot of bad puns. You must watch it. You must watch
I'm
it.
I'm still young, right?
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll surely watch that.
Yeah, Honey, I Shrunk My Kids is a very popular, was a very popular American TV movie, and basically the
Mm-hmm.
scientist dad accidentally shrunk his kids,
Uh-huh.
and the kids, the whole storyline
Oh,
is based on the kids, like they like meet a grasshopper and stuff like that. There's a long story.
uh-huh.
So in this segment,
Okay.
basically you have to explain a bigger concept. Like I will give you an example
Mm-hmm.
in a small
Mm-hmm.
in for a layman base.
Okay.
So let's start. Honey, I shrunk Polygon. So
Okay.
you have to explain Polygon in a nutshell.
I guess like it's an ecosystem, through which you can send your transaction much faster.
Hmm.
So, pay less gas fee
Hmm.
and be happy. Like, put less hours in, just seeing like my transactions get confirmed.
Yeah.
So it's like, much faster. Or like, it's like a catalyst that is
Hmm.
basically, enabling or scaling Ethereum layer one solution.
Yeah. So what do you mean by
I'll say
scale?
Polygon is a catalyst of, I guess first thing is, see, like if you do a transaction on Ethereum, I'm still talking about Ethereum 1.0.
Hmm.
Okay, so transaction may take a lot of time and the
Hmm.
gas fee is much
Very
higher,
high.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gas fee is a transaction fee associated, right?
Hmm.
So of course, so doing, or like of course, if you wanted to send some, or just write a small data, so you
Hmm.
will be like, hey, no, it's a lot of time,
Hmm.
but or like it is a lot of gas fee. But
Hmm.
again, if you are doing same thing on the Polygon, they
Hmm.
have a very less gas fee because of
Hmm.
the ZK, or the tech they have built.
Hmm.
And again, the time is very much less. So of
Okay.
course that is scaling, right? And the much more transaction in much lesser time with much
Hmm.
lesser gas fee.
Okay. Got it. So round one cleared. So next is Honey. I shrunk Polkadot.
Polkadot is like interesting. So it's like, it's more like for example, like, in Ethereum, like
Hmm.
again, like as a comparison. So first thing is like the difference between Ethereum and Polkadot is Ethereum is EVM
Hmm.
and Polkadot is non-EVM, right?
Okay.
So major thing is like Polkadot had something called sharding concept, right? They
Yeah.
have like multiple validators, or like
Hmm.
multiple shards that do the
Hmm.
transaction. So of
Hmm.
course you have, if you have like multiple shards, right,
Hmm.
and everyone confirming the transaction, so
Yeah.
it will be much faster, right?
Right.
So it's a great thing. And one thing I really like about Polkadot is like, if I'm just talk about framework also, the
Hmm.
substrate framework that is associated with Polkadot. So like,
Yeah.
you can build your own native
Have.
blockchain, or, by writing your own logic and consensus. So
Hmm.
that's a cool.
That's cool concept. All right. Round two done. Honey, I shrunk IPFS and Filecoin after that.
Yeah, I guess like IPFS and Filecoin, like both are like the good thing is like, they are decentralized, right?
Very true.
One thing, I guess the difference is like I'm just talking about IPFS, right? So
Hmm.
if you have a link in Google Drive, you can
Hmm.
add it and it will be the same link.
Hmm.
But in the IPFS, it is more like, content addressing
Yeah.
rather than the link part, right? If
Right.
you have to make an edit, you will have a different link,
Hmm.
right? And it is totally decentralized again.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
even if like, some centralized server goes down, it goes down. But in this, of course, it is, like among different tiers and nodes. So it will
Hmm.
always be there.
True.
Yeah.
About Filecoin.
Yeah, same thing. Like Filecoin also uses like it's a decentralized again, a ladder. So it's
Hmm.
pretty much same thing. Like if you talk about IPF or Filecoin or any decentralized storage system.
Hmm.
So it's more on the same side.
Okay. Okay. Great. Nice. We completed the segment. Next is my mom is a history teacher. Okay. So there when
Uh-huh.
there is any discussion in the house, we usually take references from
Mhm.
history. So when I was reading
Okay.
about blockchain, I heard,
Uh-huh.
I read that it's like French Revolution, but in the web, in the www. Yeah, in the web basically.
Mm-hmm.
So how
Mm-hmm.
accurate is the analogy? Do you think?
Like first suggestion to your mom is like, put all the history into the blockchain. It will never get deleted.
True.
So even grandkids or like, everything can enjoy or like
Yeah,
read
actually,
about that.
this is what
Second thing,
this is what
uh,
India should have done when like the invaders actually like burnt down paper. They should have used IPFS.
yeah,
It wouldn't have been
yeah.
deleted.
Now we are going to do that. Yeah,
For sure.
for sure. I'll put everything on that. Even like I'm not sure about all the things, but I guess at least this podcast, it should be
Yes.
like live on the earth. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about
So
that.
like, coming back to that query is that, like of course there is, some opposed to, some new things
Hmm.
because, you don't want to like, like if I just like I have two analogies to, support this analogy. First thing is
Hmm.
of course if we just talk about Newton's law, right?
Hmm.
Like we have like every body wants to be, remains into their state, like whether it is motion or
Hmm.
rest if until unless external force is applied, right? So like
Hmm.
we don't want a change, right? Of
Yeah.
course there is the position, like oppose, then there will be like people will see that okay, this is something goal or no, they will see pros and cons, and of course if it's right, like everyone will accept it, right? If we just talk
Yeah.
about the COVID, right? It's so hard
Yeah.
when it gets started, but now
Yeah.
we all are used to it. So
Yeah.
I guess it's more like a human emotions
Hmm.
rather like everything behaves like this. Just
Hmm.
understand human emotions and like you relate to everything behaves like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
Now just giving a recursion, like when your parents say like, hey, are you studying or not? See,
Yeah.
there is an opposition right now, but
Yeah.
if you'll do better in the podcast, then they will understand it. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So next is we have to talk about Chainlink. Yeah, I recently got introduced to Chainlink, and I was extremely
Mhm.
fascinated how it works. So brief us
Yeah.
about Chainlink and how, like, what are oracles? Tell me about it.
Mhm. Cool. I guess one thing, like even this problem I faced personally also.
Hmm.
So one thing about like, in the smart contract is they are like Turing complete, right?
Yeah.
So if there is like unpredictability, like,
Hmm.
because if there is unpredictability, you have to pay a lot of gas fee because,
Yeah.
it keeps happening, right?
Yeah.
So that is not allowed in the
Hmm.
solidity or like, most of the blockchains, right? It should be like Turing complete. There should be a start state, there should be an end state,
And state,
right?
right, right.
Now, if we just have to consume the outside data, right? Like
Hmm.
with the APIs or something. So we
Hmm.
cannot directly integrate that into the smart contract. The reason
Hmm.
why is we don't know, like, they will be live or not. Some
Hmm.
data might change. Of
Hmm.
course, it is obviously it got hacked or something.
Yeah.
So of course, it is not secure also, right? So
Hmm.
there is previously no way to, get those data into the like ecosystem of blockchain, right?
Yeah.
So what Chainlink or like what basically Oracle do is like
Hmm.
with Oracle, you can consume outside data
Hmm.
to the blockchain.
Yeah.
Okay, so of
Yeah.
course, Chainlink have their own set of nodes, verify. You can also run up their nodes.
Hmm.
But to like summarize in a single line, it
Hmm.
basically helps you to get outside world data of
Hmm.
APIs into the blockchain,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Uh,
that what Chainlink is.
so, do you have any idea about what the projects can, or what is the scale of the projects can be using Chainlink?
Can you come again?
Yeah, I'm saying what do you think are the benefits of Chainlink in a daily use to daily to daily basis on a daily basis?
Mhm.
What are the
See,
benefits?
mhm. Of course, like, if you are doing anything, like, you are creating like any smart contract or anything that
Okay.
have a real world application, right? So you
Hmm.
might need the outside world data, right? For example, let's say like you are creating some automated smart contract for, settling up the payment, or right. Okay. So
Hmm.
maybe for that you may need crypto price or,
Yeah.
something like that.
Oh
So for
yeah.
that you may include Chainlink. For example, you may be creating some smart contract for weather forecasting or like,
Hmm.
monitoring something like that. I'm
Hmm.
not saying like it's a good use case or bad use cases. I'm just giving you the example,
Example.
right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, so you consume the weather APIs or something like that. Okay.
Hmm.
For
Hmm.
example, like, in cricket, if you wanted to make a decentralized, even in the voting, like, decent,
We just start recording.
yeah.
Yep. So let's continue with the example.
Yeah, I guess like one again, example is, even the decentralized voting system, right?
Hmm.
For
Hmm.
example, even if in your college or, somewhere you wanted to organize that and you
Hmm.
want to fetch some, maybe a participant data or something like outside world data, right? You
Hmm.
can use that oracles. So it's
Hmm.
like widely used. There are a lot of use cases.
Hmm.
Like even in the NFTs, right? Even in the NFTs, if you wanted to make those NFT dynamic, right? So you
In
can
in
use
what, like, dynamic in
yeah,
what way?
dynamic is like right now the NFT is static, right? Most
Yes.
of the NFT you might have seen, they always represent one image, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now what you can do is like if you want to create a dynamic NFT, what you can do is like you can embed that chain link,
Yeah.
Oracle URL or something like that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now it will get the data and maybe put an image accordingly. For example, like I've created a weather NFT,
Hmm.
dynamic weather NFT. Okay, and maybe the location is Bangalore or like any city. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
so if
Hmm.
the weather is like rainy, like that NFT will change into some rainy background or something like that.
Oh.
If it's sunny, it will change to sunny background. So it's more like a dynamic NFT.
Okay. So, okay, my question is pretty dumb, but like, why on an
Mhm.
NFT? Why not on an application, on a real world application?
Like which thing? Like this weather thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You asked me about example. I just gave you the
Okay. Got it.
example.
Fine.
Don't
Gotcha.
go with
Gotcha.
the logic. Yeah, it seems cool, right?
Yeah. It seems cool.
Yeah.
I know, but like,
Next time ask, hey Pranshu, give me logic example. Yeah. Yeah. One
okay.
one thing is it looks cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Second thing is
That's
cool.
enough.
Yeah. I guess that's how most of the NFT work, right?
That's true, actually. Actually, the next question was that, like, why
I
NFT
know, I
and
know.
NFT, does NFT has any future?
See, like, first thing is like, again, I restrict myself to answer this because, for me, let's try to understand what NFT is, right?
Hmm.
Rather than see, like, whether it's future or not.
Hmm.
NFT is a non-fungible token.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's basically a digital asset.
Hmm.
Okay, non-fungible means you cannot divide or split into like, fractions or something like that. For
Hmm.
example, ERC20 or something like that, you can set, 0.1
Right.
token, 0.2. But
Yeah.
NFT, one NFT is one NFT.
Right.
So there may be some very cool use cases also. First thing is like even personally, like, I built a project like in, when I was just starting coding. of
Hmm.
NFT, but that is a real estate marketplace. Okay.
Hmm.
So I basically, for the every building, apartment or flat, I
Hmm.
basically, map them with one NFT. So
Okay.
that is basically the digital ownership of that property or building, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So first thing is, like, you see, like, especially, like, in in most of the places there are fraud, or like, we got lost the properties paper, or like something
Hmm.
like that, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you have the NFT map to the flat, we always know that this is the owner.
Right.
And if you sell those flat or apartment or building, it always say, you can always track the history, right? That
Right.
one time, third time, fourth time. So see, this case, I think it's cool, right?
Very
So
cool.
similarly, like, understand the concept like digital ownership or like digital, asset.
Hmm.
But again, like, there are a lot of things, like, like cool things, right? So something I don't understand. Yeah. So that's the reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I mean,
Yeah. I still have to learn a lot of things. So I'm just learning this cool thing.
alright. The Bored Apes Yacht Club is. I mean, let's see. See, it's cool. I know,
Uh-huh.
but
Uh,
why? I mean,
I don't know. Like, I learned.
like, almost every person, every famous person has a like a Bored Apes Yacht Club NFT with as their Twitter handle. I mean, guys,
Yeah.
let's just be a little mature. I mean, what's going on?
So they started being creative,
Yeah,
but then they realized, no, we have to follow that ship thing.
that's the problem with
My
creativity.
answer to this, yeah, yeah,
It makes you do stupid things.
yeah. I'll restrict myself to say all those things, but yeah,
Okay, all right. So there are many layer two solutions which have come up in the recent years,
yeah.
and what like there is a need for sure. And how do they actually help developers to make D applications? Because I have learned Solidity.
Mm-hmm,
I learned it very
mm-hmm,
recently, a month back, and
mm-hmm,
I was trying to
mm-hmm,
like deploy smart contracts on Hardhat, and then I did on Ganache,
mm-hmm,
on then testnets.
mm-hmm.
Did all that, but I am unable to understand the need of layer two solutions. Like, what do they do? What do they actually do?
Yeah, I guess, like, you told me, like, you have deployed the smart contract, or are that, like, most on the local blockchain, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
testnet blockchain,
Hmm.
Ganache. So when you will deploy it on the Ethereum mainnet, you will realize that, because then you will pay the real money, right? And it will be huge. So you'll say, no, I don't want to give that, and it's really slow. So yeah, I'll say try that. So, like, I've already answered this, because Polygon is a layer two
Yeah,
solution,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I guess I have already answered most of the things in the previous query. But
Hmm.
again, the need is, of course, we all need fast thing, right?
Hmm.
Of course, you'll upgrade your phone, you will upgrade your everything, right? Because
Hmm.
it's much faster and everything.
Yeah,
So yeah, layer two solution are doing that mostly. So that's, I guess, like, I answered your query, right?
yeah, yeah. I got
Try
it.
to deploy it on the mainnet. Then
Yeah,
then we will do a second season of it. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So there is something called blockchain trilemma. I heard very. I guess I
Uh,
was reading about it yesterday. So like,
Scalability, security.
so why does it
Yeah.
exist? Why can't we solve all the three problems at the same time? Why just only two?
I guess, like, we are trying to do that. Like, of course, like, I'll quote, with great power, great, like, with great power comes great responsibility, right?
Yeah.
So that's the reason we cannot solve. And third thing is, we are trying, right? So even like Ethereum 2.0, right? Trying to
Yeah.
solve the scalability issue,
Yeah.
because it solves like other two. So
Hmm.
again, like, other blockchain, like, we are like this, as I said, we are just getting started, right?
Hmm.
So we are trying to see, okay, these were the hurdles or something, and
Hmm.
we wanted to resolve that and see, like, how it can be resolved.
Hmm.
So that's the thing. But don't worry, like, we'll do that.
Okay. Thank you so much. That's great. I hope it does that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we have come to the end of the podcast. Thank you so much.
Ah, I'm sad.
Yeah. So thank you so much for accepting my request. First of all, I didn't expect that in this season of Metacast I would be able to bring on a blockchain developer. So that's great. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Uh,
there are great amount of blockchain developers. Don't underestimate them. You'll find a lot.
I
Yeah.
mean, I won't be able to communicate. That was my. It was me. It's not them.
Okay. Okay, it's you, right?
It's fine. Yeah, it's me.
Got it.
Yeah.
Then it's fine.
So, what's your message for me? Like at the end of this like conversation.
Yeah, I'll say like make it viral first of all. Yeah, you know, like and all the guys you mentioned, in the podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, you already know me now because it's viral, right?
We'll
And third
assume.
thing is like you are yeah, no, it's confident, right? I guess you are already doing great thing, right? Because I can see like you already hosted like two more episode
Mm,
of this or
yeah.
three more episode of this, and like thing is, of course, it's not an easy task because it's not like hey, I'll just go and blabber something and it will be fun. You also have to. You already told me, right? You interacted with me like a month back, right? So
Yeah.
you have been studying a lot, researching a lot, and of course, the query you have asked me, it's not something like someone who don't have any knowledge will go and ask, right?
Mm,
So, and this is something you did with the blockchain, right? Of course, the
yeah.
other one may or may not be with blockchain or with some other technology.
Mm,
So you are already doing that, right?
yeah.
So first thing is, of course, this is a cool way to like, learn about these things. And
Yeah.
these are like, most frequently asked question about like, all the cool things. So I'd say like you are solving that issue, like, hey, creative people, and, watch my podcast and, yeah, I'll motivate you. So I guess yeah, again you are doing a great job. Like keep doing that. And if you have like more season, invite me.
For
Yeah.
sure. I'm going
If
to
I'll
invite you
become
for the
more
next.
famous, I'll
Yeah.
reply you later.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bhaiya. Thank you so much for coming and have fun.
Thank you,
Happy birthday.
thank you so much.
Have fun. Have a great day.
Thank you, Aditya. Yeah. Bye. Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Send me this link.
For sure.
Yeah.